Okay. And so I did this on some craft paper that I had that they gave me from Randall, that they put on the tables.
Right.
The other thing I thought of was shelf paper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it has to be real paper, not plastic.
Right.
So I wanted to suggest that if you don't have water paper, that you get something like craft paper if you want to keep doing this stuff. And all of this was done with our regular watercolor brushes. I used a number 16, I used a number 4, and I used a liner for the little flicky things. I wanted to give people suggestions about cheap paper. I want to begin to look at a little bit of composition because I'm having a real hard time with it. Water paper is good for that too. I'm going to do culms. Culms are these things, stalk. And I've now watched a lot of people do them. And there's one guy who just does this at the bottom and at the top, which makes a pretty good culm. Last week I did one with not as much water. And so it gives a more interesting stroke. You're not supposed to make them all the same size, all the same length. They all have to be the same width because, and I found this out with my research, when the thing emerges from the ground, that's as fat as it's ever going to be.
Right.
It never gets any bigger except for the very tip. And the other thing about it is to learn how to do them so that they cross. So let's try again.
And as you're doing them, are you trying to make them lighter or darker as you're going up?
Not just randomly. I mean,
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
They usually get drier as you go up just because your brush has gotten, lost some of the water.
Some of the water, yeah. But excuse me, young lady, I'm wondering if you're holding that brush correctly.
No, I'm not. Well, no, it's okay. It's okay for doing culms because you're using the side of it's only when you're doing leaves.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But good catching. Very good catching. And it's wonderful to have your students catch you because it means they've paid attention.
Yes, we try. We do try.
Yes, I'm getting pretty good with leaves, but these things, these culms, not so much. And they all have the way you get a bend is in between each node because each node is straight. I think on the small ones, you just do a little. And it seems to me that bamboo is a very repetitive plant because the twiggy things are the same thing.
So in between them, are you putting something, a little indentation or whatever at the top and the bottom pieces?
Yep.
Okay.
You do a dot, a stroke, and a dot because it's just like the culms except they're little. And things always grow out of in between the nodes. So even if you're doing little flicky things, they have to come out of a joint. But leaves can grow like there. It doesn't matter. Leaves don't seem to care. So you don't have to have stems for each leaf. In other words, if you have a long straight thing like this, even though I have nodes coming out like that, you don't need a twig for each leaf. You can have a leaf come out of the middle. And you can encourage these things to dry. And actually my folds have come out pretty good. Mm-hmm. I have kept this rolled up with the other two and you can still see where they are, but they're not actually, you can't really feel them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's wiggly. It's not supposed to be wiggly.
Yeah, but some of them might be a little special in their shape.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be special in their shape. They're supposed to be straight, but they can have like an edge.
A little uniqueness to their shape.
They're supposed to be straight. And I also discovered you can go back. I went back with the ink. And I like this blotting at the end. I don't have a flicky brush that's little.
Oh.
I only have my regular flicky brush. See, I went back. Now that's something I didn't think of. You make a great big long one and then you break it up. And I don't know that would work on paper. Mm-hmm. I think bamboo was one of those things that discovered a way to do things that it never thought about it ever again.
I know it multiplies like crazy, like rabbits.
Yeah. Lots of grass.
Yes.
But you use a lot of paper. Or
yes, you do.
If you don't have the watercolors. That's why I'm into this business of cheap paper.
Uh-huh. That makes sense.
And there's kinds of bamboo that has it's called a Buddha belly. It's got a node and then it's got a Buddha belly.
Oh.
Buddha belly bamboo.
Buddha belly. Okay.
because it's got a belly at the bottom of the node. It's
Oh.
sort of shaped like that. I thought it looked deformed. Buddha belly.
Mm.
Looks like a bunch of chimneys.
So is it at each section of the node or at the very
Yeah,
base?
the node itself sort of has fatness at the bottom of it.
Okay.
And then the internode is still the same. And then it gets fat in the internode and it gets fat.
Mm.
And then there's one where the node is very thin and just at the ends it's really fat. And then there's an internode, sort of like a bone
Mm-hmm.
or a chest piece.
Chris, how tall would you say that they grow on average? Is that about 12 feet, you think?
It depends on the kind of bamboo you get. They are all different kinds of sizes. You can and as they get old, as the plant gets older, every year the things that come up, if they're healthy, each year the culm is a little bit fatter. So the ones you see that are really fat, well, there are also thinner ones and fatter ones just by genetics. But if it's the same plant, the fattest ones are the newest ones.
Oh, okay.
Because they get fatter. And that's why you see these pictures of this great big bamboo and you buy the pot and it's not as fat as this. More like this coming up out of the ground.
Oh.
But then the next year it'll be bigger. And people who are really into this date their culms.
You said they do what, paint them?
They date them. They say what year this one came up and what year that came up.
Okay.
So that they know. I don't know why they want to know it, but so that they do. When you actually look at bamboo leaves, they're not as even as the ones that they show you when you're looking at Sumi-e videos. The Sumi-e videos show these very perfect leaves. When you actually look at photos of bamboo, they're not necessarily that perfect.
Uh-huh. Well, I guess they're each unique.
Yes. One of my biggest problems is seeing something that I like I like this little flick. So then I do them everywhere. And then it's not special anymore, because they're everywhere. See, now I like the way some of these are gray and some of these are darker because they're wetter. I think that's cool. Next week on paper.
Okay.
So I'll see you in July.
All right.